This film has been classified 18, which means it's for adults only. It may also contain some very explicit language, which will frequently mean sexual swear words. Thanks for listening. Enjoy the film.
I've already done that one.
Well, it's Halloween again! Of course it is. Welcome to VHS Showdown's Halloween special.
Happy Halloween, everybody.
Hooray. There's pumpkins fucking everywhere. So, I'm Murph.
I'm Tarby.
I am Lee.
And here is...
I am Alan.
Who is definitely here and not actually at the dentist and let us all down at the last minute. Yes. But he is most definitely actually here in this room, aren't he?
I am Alan.
Nice. Yeah, so this is our second Halloween special. We did 4 Halloween episodes last season. If you haven't heard those, go and check them out.
So check it out, Mikey.
That was good fun, man. I enjoyed that. So, yeah, we're back. And this year, we're just going to do one. We decided to pick something that I'm pretty sure we've all got a bit of a connection to from our youth. So I think it was your suggestion, wasn't it, Lee?
Yeah.
So do you want to tell us what it is that we're watching for this Halloween?
We're watching Ghostwatch.
Ghostwatch.
So, and if you don't know, that is played once on TV on BBC One on Halloween in 1992. It was alluded to that it was a documentary, but it actually wasn't.
No.
They were forced to put the fact that it was a drama at the beginning because they were worried that it was going to cause an uproar, which it did.
So what was your first introduction to this?
Well, it was Halloween. I had my mate Toby over to stay. Sometimes he got homesick, Toby, and we watched it. And then halfway through, he starts fucking crying because he wants to go home.
Well, how old would you have been?
11 or 12.
1990 was it? Or
92.
92, yeah. Okay.
So we would have been like 12.
Yeah.
And yeah, just fucking shit, an absolute brick. And then I just remember more clearly than watching it, talking about it at school by the lockers the next day, like, fuck, man, did you see fucking Ghostwatch? And everyone was like, fuck, because you still thought it was a documentary.
Did you know then when you watched it as a kid that it wasn't real?
No.
You thought it was real?
I thought it was real. I thought it was real for a while after.
Well,
everyone did.
Like fucking hell. What do you think when you see Michael Parkinson on TV after this and being like fucking...
Well, I mean, not like years, but I mean, like, you know, like a couple of months after, and then everyone was like, "Oh, Ghostwatch wasn't it?" I was like, "Oh yeah, I guess, yeah, it probably wasn't, was it?" Yeah, but I can't remember if I've seen it since then. It feels like I've watched it a little bit more around the time, so I guess maybe it was recorded, but it's something I've not watched since like I was 11 or 12.
Oh, you haven't seen it since you were a kid either?
No.
Oh wow. Okay, amazing. Right. So Tar, what was your history with Ghostwatch?
I'll trump it. I've never seen it.
You'd never seen Ghostwatch? No way.
I just heard the after hype. And it was very much people was telling me it was real. So I'm quite notorious for sort of bucking the trend, but I don't do it because I want to be different. I wait for the hype to die down so that people forget about it, they're not talking about it, and I watch it with a fresh mind and I don't have influence on it. This, I don't even remember hearing about it being on TV.
Which would scare the shit out of you.
Whatever.
Candyman scared you.
It did, but I would have done the fucking Candyman thing.
You didn't do it!
Yeah, but it wasn't because I was scared. It was a scary film. I could not. We'll go over this till we die. It's going to be on my gravestone. But anyway.
It will.
Anyway, yeah. By the time I could have got around to seeing this, because you got to remember, there was no Sky, there was no YouTube, there was no internet.
Well, this was on and then it was gone.
If you missed it, it wasn't there. So
that's a mad thing to try and explain to sort of like your kids and stuff.
Yeah.
Like how in the old days, like if you didn't see it, that was it.
He's gone.
Yeah.
Because this was never shown on TV again.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even released on DVD for the best part of it.
What is it? Because you're saying you haven't seen it, but you own this on DVD.
Yeah, but
you're too scared to open it.
Yeah. I've loved Ghosts for as long as I can remember, but the story with this is I'd never seen it. By the time I got a chance to be able to watch it, I knew it was fake, so I thought, well, what's the fucking point?
He's like they were trying to pull the wool over his eyes then.
It was quite a sort of seminal thing, and because of the ghost and because it was British, I don't remember how I came by it, but I've lost it again now.
I reckon because when I first got together with Kate, I bought it her for Christmas. She bought it me for Christmas, and I reckon I gave it to you.
Maybe, and that's it. I had it for ages. I loaned it to Murph, but I can actually exonerate him because I do remember taking it back off him, and it's been on my shelf, and now it is not. And I have no fucking.
Do you think a ghost had it?
Maybe.
That's great though. So you got somebody who saw it as a kid and got scared. Somebody who didn't see it at all until now.
What was your story?
So I saw like it from a quarter of the way in when it was broadcast. I think we were watching something else. I remember it was when we lived in Bodnam and we flicked over and watched it with my mum and dad. And yeah, we thought it was real. Well, I thought it was real. I think my mum and dad were like, by the end, were like, no.
Especially the end.
Yeah. We're like, this isn't real. But like you, I was like, oh my god, I was absolutely terrified of it. And yeah, just so you, I remember it being like the fucking thing everybody was talking about at school. I would have been 10 when it came out. And yeah, like literally next day I was like, but did you see Ghostwatch? It was that whole thing. It was a big deal. I think my mum and dad were like, I think they explained to me that it wasn't real at the end or whatever, because I think they were taking the mick out of it. But watching it as a kid, I was terrified. Oh, what about you? What was your experience?
Yeah. It looks so cool.
That's fascinating now.
That is very insightful.
You're one to turn a tail, that man.
Yeah.
I am Alan.
Okay, so we get into it then, I guess.
It opens with a bang. It's very like cinematic. Michael Parkinson in.
Yeah, they made them put that in because they were going to pull it at the last minute.
Right.
Were they going to pull it? Well, the BBC were.
Yeah, because they were like, it's too fucking scary.
You know, it is pretty fucking scary,
It
man.
is pretty scary. So that's why they had to have the title and the credits at the beginning. Because
Yeah.
they wanted to make sure that people knew that it wasn't real.
Yeah.
And this is before like fucking Most Haunted.
Mary loves Dick. Mary loves Dick.
And funny enough, interesting fact is what's her face from Most Haunted, Yvette Fielding was offered the Sarah Green role, and turned it down at the time. They also offered it to Annika Rice. But I think that was one of the other things why, because obviously the cast in this, so we got Michael Parkinson as the presenter.
And I think everybody in this does a pretty good job.
For presenters, Michael Parkinson's fucking brilliant in this. He comes across real natural the whole time. Do you know what I mean?
I feel they've got the impossible task of whether they're presenters or not. It's actors being asked to act like they're not acting, and it's kind of like they're not in one film and then gone. These are people that you know in other roles, and they're kind of
not other roles. They were like actual presenters of TV, like Sarah Green. Thingy did Crime Watch.
I would have had a problem with this film when I was 12.
Crime Watch. She was on Blue Peter.
Sarah Green, she was married to Mike Smith, and they did fucking Going Live together.
Okay, Elliot, what's your question?
I'd like to ask 5-star where they're so fucking crap. They're fucking.
Thanks very much, Elliot. Nice to hear from you. I'm sure Tammy would have made a lot more sense. Let's move on to line 3. Have you got a sensible question?
Mike Smith did fucking Top of the Pops and he was fucking Radio 1 DJ.
Right. Because when I was watching it, I never realised before, but obviously Ghostwatch, Crime Watch. Do you know what I mean? And actually with the phone lines and that. And then I was thinking I was watching this, fuck me, Crime Watch, man.
Crime Watch.
What a fucking programme Crime Watch
That was
was.
scary as shit.
Man, I used to fucking, it was always like, something breaking into someone's fucking house with a hammer or
But don't have
something.
nightmares.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Yeah, so he just reminded me of whoever it was who used to present from Crime. But I guess that was the whole theme of it, wasn't it?
Yeah, that is very much the same era.
And Craig Charles was like, he just wait, like I got on the side.
He was fucking great.
He was
in it,
great.
man.
He's the 28 in that.
Craig
I thought
Charles
he was good at it.
brilliant
He's
in
good at it. We met Craig Charles, didn't we?
We did a couple of times.
He's pretty sad.
He's
pretty
lovely
sad.
guy. He won't remember us.
He got fucking trained from like Australia or something and met her, so he was jet lagged as fuck. He was like, yeah, I'll have some photos. Fuck it.
Very nice guy. And if you're listening, Craig, but wow, I fucking, it's crazy.
Let us know if you're listening, Craig Charles.
He is the listener.
I thought his role in this was a bit like, he was the young kid who didn't believe it, and like every time he came on, he's like, boo!
But he was like cheeky chappy, and
That's what he would be acting like if he was really doing that job, isn't it?
Yeah, don't get me wrong, I understand everybody's roles, and I do think that they managed to pull off a convincing replica of an early 90s show and the format.
Yeah, it's a very believable show.
Yeah, but I don't know about the content, and I don't know about some of the reactions. We'll go through that as we go. That's going to be my major gripe.
Michael Parkinson is a bloody national treasure, Tom.
He's dead.
He's dead now.
He died last year.
There was something about watching this which was really like cosy.
Yeah, well, it's that 90s English TV feel, isn't it?
Yeah, like Parky and Sarah Green. Man.
Even the way the TV cameras are. I mean, like a film is a film, isn't it? But your terrestrial TV, each decade had a very specific feel to it, didn't it? Just the way that it was filmed.
And they kind of nailed the whole live TV thing, I think. The bits where there's people with cables and stuff, like, when you watch his fucking Noel's House Party or whatever, and do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It had that, like, it didn't feel like this was a pre-recorded thing trying to be a live show. It felt like, you might have thought, oh yeah, they're acting, but it looked like a live TV show. Do you know what I mean?
I feel like there was probably a script and there was a plot pattern, but I would say that...
You didn't understand it.
I understand it perfectly. Here comes the explanation. I expect that they were probably told, here's where you're going to start and here's where you need to get to. Their brief was to make it sound spontaneous, but I think what they came across as more is improvisational. I think a lot of their lines were off the cuff, that they were trying to think what to say, and while they were busy thinking what to say, their reactions weren't. There was a lot of like some of their I'm shocked, I'm getting scared. It was a bit like
There's a bit of wooden acting. I would say not actually Michael Parkinson. I think he did a great job. Sarah Green's great, but at times she can be a little bit wooden.
Yeah.
Smithy was quite good. Mike Smith, he was alright.
Like, so Parkinson was in the main studio with some doctor. Mike Smith was in the phone studio taking all the calls.
They were on the same floor, the way you
in the
could
same
see
building, on the
Parky.
same floor. Yeah. Craig Charles was the man on the street, and Sarah Green was leading the investigation in the house.
Like Challenge Annika.
Yeah. The number that they were asking people to call.
Yeah, it was 081 811.
Yeah.
811.
Do you know going live and kicking?
081 811 8181.
So it was a real fucking number.
Yeah.
So
Do you
people
know
would
what
have
it
been
said
calling
though?
in.
So you rang it said this isn't real. This is fake.
That would have blown your buzz, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Because all these calls coming in, and he read out like 3. It would be like, okay, and then he put people on, and they'd be like, yeah, we had a ghost. That's all I wanted to say. It's kind of fun. Right, we can get a couple more like that in, I'm sure, but he read like one every 10 minutes or something.
But it was mad though in the 90s and that when you used to watch shows, bro, and it would be like Red Nose Day or in those old 90s shows, and there always used to be like a load of people on the phones in the background. It fucking happens on so much on 90s TV. It's like, do you reckon they were actually on the phones? Do you reckon it was, yeah.
We've got a lead on the man in the potato sack. He's like, he's.
But Crime Watch, what was that about? Do you know what I mean? You got the police for that shit.
Imagine you were on Crime Watch. You'd be like, fuck.
Oh, what, for a crime you did?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Buggery.
Fucking hell. Would have been illegal back then, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. Don't know if it was. Was it legal?
I don't know.
What you said,
let us know in the comments.
What's your thoughts, Al?
It's not something that is appealing, like, do you know what I mean?
Ah.
I am Alan.
I thought you knew
Are you
that.
saying they're committing buggery or that they would get buggery?
No, committing buggery was illegal, wasn't it?
It was
sodomy.
at some point. Maybe I don't know, in the 80s. It should
Still is, isn't it?
I'm not entirely sure. Is that just...
To have anal sex with a woman is illegal, isn't it?
Is that buggery?
No.
Sodomy?
That's not what your wife told you.
She don't need to tell me that, mate. I'm not pressing for it. But, I mean, I'm sure up until recently it was illegal.
Maybe.
But it can't be now.
Hey, look.
Judging by all the videos.
If you want to stick something at your bum, stick something at your bum. Nobody minds. It's fine.
2024.
But yeah, no kink shaming here.
Yeah.
So let us know in the comments.
If you like things up your bum. Do you like things up your bum, Alan?
They went in there for one thing and they're getting screwed over by the people above them. So they're like, you get a bit of like, I am Alan.
Oh.
So this doctor has been studying this case for the last 8 months or some shit.
I thought I immediately recognised her off something like
She's-
The Ritz or Spats, but when I looked her up, she's not been in any
She's
of
on a
that
few
shit.
things.
She's been in a few things, but I thought it was one of those real shit early 90s.
Spats.
Yeah, Spats, man, like kids' restaurants or something. But she has...
Press gang.
Yeah, exactly that sort of thing.
Yes, but the doctor's been investigating this case, and she sat in the studio with Parky, and then they cut to some footage of shit going on. And I do have a problem with this footage, actually, because, like, here's footage of some shit going on in the room, and the girls are all running around and everything, but, like, the camera's, like, starts moving for part of it, and then moves back. It's like, someone was filming that then.
Yeah, because I noticed that. I never noticed it before, and I've seen this, like, as a kid, and then I've watched on DVD quite a few times. But yeah, it is the CCTV, and then it just zooms in.
Yeah,
So it doesn't even, it's just a zoom in.
It zooms in, it's like...
But it's every time something's being thrown at her, and it's
Yeah.
like, but it's zooming in, because clearly, like, some fucking stage hands just at the back, like, chucking these fucking...
And that's your
books
first kind of red flags as to whether this is real or not.
Wow.
Because this is what I'm saying, even at 12, I would have been like, why are they doing that? That's...
I didn't. Well, I don't even know if I saw that bit as a kid, but I think that bit works.
I think that's like, I mean, we've been working around like videos and stuff now. We've seen a lot of films and stuff. I think like even like fucking 20 years ago when Jackass was on.
Yeah.
Even when you watch that now, you're like, there's no way that they've
Yeah.
just filmed like fucking gorilla stuff.
because they got like different angles. It was like, well, the camera wasn't. So you've redone this. You've done this
stuff
twice.
is set up.
Yeah,
you can tell.
yeah.
But I mean, but even back then, you think you would have been duped by something like that back then.
I don't think people were as media savvy maybe in 19. Well, definitely at 10 years old, I wouldn't have been. I wouldn't have got that.
Yeah. So they show some of that, and then they sort of establish there's like temperature sensors and like they got some infrared shit going on, haven't they? And Craig Charles is the man on the street, and then there's like they do their first bit of banging.
So everybody's like, did you hear that? Did you hear that?
And then he jumps out. He's got a fucking mask on.
Yeah. So the whole case with this is about the two girls in like the suburban house. I think that's one of the things that made this scary. Was it was a modern-ish house? Do you know what I mean? It wasn't like a haunted house.
Total echoes. And not just echoes, there's, the scenario, the amount of people involved, is just like the Enfield.
Well, the Enfield haunting was the inspiration for Ghostwatch. That's what they based it on. It's the same story, isn't it? It's two fucking girls and a fucking poltergeist.
Some of the things they do, like the liquid in the mouth, the voice coming through and stuff like that. It's not just based on it's a lot of it lifted.
Well, I think that's why a lot of people sort of fell for it as well, wasn't it? Because it was so close to the actual Enfield poltergeist case, which would have been around then, wouldn't it? Or like
it was the 70s.
Yeah.
So after they've shown the allegedly real footage, they have people calling in saying they've seen a woman in a black dress.
Yes.
And it's cool because they show it a few times, and sometimes it's not on there, and sometimes it is, which is like that. I thought that was pretty cool. Like.
It's quite infuriating though, because there is whatever they've done, like mapped it on or whatever. I don't know. There is quite a convincing.
But you could be like, that's not, or is it? It's like
it's
not conclusive.
That picture though, you'd be like, oh look at that. That'd be your sort of like conversation starter at your house. Like you'd be like, look at this picture. What do you see there? But like Michael Parkinson, he's like sat in his chair, isn't he? He's like, again, he's just a bit doddery. He's like, Jamie or whatever the lad's name is. Like, bring on that piece of technology. And it's that fucking TV on a stand, and he's like, you can use a light pen on that, and you can identify what you're talking about, where the doctor thinks she sees the marks. And she fucking draws like two weird lines. She's not drawing around the whole thing. I thought she'd put a circle around it, but she draws over it, but with two really stupid marks.
But it's keeping it sort of still a bit ambiguous, though, isn't it? You don't want to blow all their beans
I don't
in the
know,
first 5
it's
minutes.
really weird, because you can see what they've done, what they've put on there. She doesn't circle it and go, look, it's in that area there, and then it really works. She's like, she draws over the two bits you're supposed to be looking at. You can't
Yeah, but she got like highlights and very, very close. It would have been easier for her to draw a circle. I didn't.
And she doesn't draw anything like a body or anything. They're like.
They draw a smiley face. Just draw a ghost. Woo! Look at this. Look at that. Woo!
That's what I don't feel like does in the studio, isn't it? Just like got that fucking hearth in the background, that fire, and on above it just a framed picture of your classic ghost sheet.
It's a great 80s set. It was reminiscent of when I used to watch MasterChef as a kid with fucking Lloyd Grossman. Very similar set to that, reminding me of it. Yeah, no, it's really clever because the first time it's on, it's not there.
Yeah.
And then they mention it and they go back and it is there.
Yeah. And then when they show it again, it's not there.
It's not there.
And then when they show it again, it's
when she circles it, it's there.
She doesn't circle it, she defaces it.
I got the feeling of that at home. You'd be like, "That's not it. I'm seeing it. How come she can't see it?"
Yeah,
but I think that's what they're trying to do because they're saying. So
well done, it worked.
A lot of people can see it, and some people can't.
Piss me right off.
But the good thing they would have known, obviously, back in the days of terrestrial TV, that people can't rewind.
Yeah,
so do you know what I mean? It's like if you did that now on like Netflix,
if you taped it,
you'd be like, "Hang on, did I see that?" Or didn't
I had a great time, looking at it all, like pausing it and stuff, and it was like, yeah.
Oh yeah, I bet you dug right into that, didn't you? I bet you were rewinding that.
I did. But the thing is, like you said it, that you've got to imagine a time where that was impossible.
Yeah.
And it's like, fuck, did you see that? It's like, no, it's a piss.
So obviously the figure you see, as we'll discover in the story, is Pipes.
Well, I didn't know what to say. They were that terrified, so I said it was pipes. No, it's central heating.
And so there's 9 times when you see Pipes.
9?
But the director said there's 13. But there's 9
I think I saw fucking 3
appearances. And I don't know all off the top of my head, but all of the...
How many times did you see Pipes, Alan?
I think it's that they've got that sort of the odds are against them as well, really. I think, like, as it's going along, you're learning that they went in there for one thing and they're getting screwed over by the people above them.
What's that got to do with it?
Oh. So one of the times when Craig Charles is like walking around the village, and there's like a load of them stood there. Pipes is one of the people stood there in the crowd, and there's like a couple of other moments where Pipes is in it, but I don't think everyone's found them yet. She's like 13 times.
They get progressively better, don't they? I mean, the last appearance is now you can pause.
When you watch this now, it's like obviously not as scary. Now you know, and you're a lot older. But seeing Pipes a couple of times, it was like, ooh, it was a bit scary. Do you know what I mean?
He's got a good mythos, Pipes. Like the whole, like it's not just one ghost, is it?
Well,
There's like a whole mythos. It's like that whole area is, and they do a really good job, I think, of building that up.
A child killer who's now possessing the body of like a paedophile.
It was a female nurse, child
baby
killer.
farmer. Have you ever heard that expression before?
Farmer, female one.
They were fucking brutal.
A baby farmer.
Man.
Funny enough, Facebook must have been listening, but something popped up on my thing the other day saying
I've got a small dick.
It was like why Ghostwatch was banned instantly or something, and it's not what you think. But I bet it's something to do with the fucking graphic stuff because they're talking to these people in that wasteland.
We cut to Craig Charles, who's going around the village there.
He's like, "Hi, just joining us now. Gonna go and see one of the neighbours." And he's like, "I'm like, where the fuck is he going?" He's like, "Gonna get a run on." And it takes him about 20 seconds to run. I was like, why the fuck is he having this interview down this road? But then when he gets in there, he talks to that woman who tells him about the dog. They're so specific, like a black Labrador pregnant dog has been fucking slashed open, and that's like, oh my god, that's fucking harsh. But there's fetuses scattered. And it's like they could have left it as a fucking black lab, stabbed or dead.
There were fetuses scattered all over. The kids went late for weeks.
And also, there's been a lot of knife crime. A 5-year-old got knifed. It was like, Jesus Christ! Fucking hell!
That's the way she said it.
A fucking 5-year-old!
Just chuck that in there.
I know you're always reading about people that were knifed and all that sort of thing, but somebody was knifed around here that was 5 years old.
A girl had gone missing as well, and
disappeared. Nobody ever knew what had happened to her.
Yeah, it's all that stuff was real fucking dark, and it did do a good job of setting the mood.
Yeah, it's fucking. It doesn't pull any punches. Again, I can't be a hypocrite. While all this is going on, I'm still thinking terrible acting.
Right, so where were we?
The mum thought that the daughter was making it up, and she's like, "Yeah, I almost hit her."
I was going to hit her. I was so mad.
Chill out, mum. Fuck me.
That's the 90s.
I don't like her acting.
The mum was a bit shit. I'll move on now.
And the oldest daughter. They were both just waiting for their turn to talk.
The little girl was good.
Yeah, she was the best of the three. Still, there's better child actors. You know, I'm not being harsh. I'm fucking undiagnosed autistic something, and one of my things is I examine stuff like that, and I hear differences in tones of voice, and I think they shouldn't be there.
You're like Monk.
Yeah, something like that. But I've got a thing about people, how they deliver stuff, and it's kind of like, you know, they sounded like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. And it's like, you're not a fucking scared kid. You're a kid waiting for their line.
But in the context of 90s British TV, you know, it's like Casualty or The Bill level acting. Do you know what I mean? Which is what we had to put up with at the time.
It's a real fucking shame that I never saw this until now. I mean, I've seen bits.
Little bits.
But like minutes. 3-4 tops.
Is that where you're peeking from behind the sofa when you're too scared?
So I can help it.
Moving on to the next bit, though. There's another place. It's called the Glory Hole.
Yeah, what the fuck? And they're big about that as well. His ex-husband's fucking had a dark room.
I'm just going down to the Glory Hole.
You know what we call the Glory Hole?
You're not telling me that somebody who worked for the BBC in the fucking early 90s did not know what a fucking glory hole was, man?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Somebody must have fucking known. I said, hang on, guys, come on.
I bet it was something that they snuck in and they were waiting for her to deliver a line like, oh yeah, we used to mess around in the Glory Hole or something like that, and they would do you know what I mean, have a fucking little in-joke that only they would know.
You never know.
But it's kind of like, it was just a dark room. It had no business being called the Glory Hole.
I don't know about you, but I'm not trusting enough to use a glory hole.
You don't want someone like slashing it with a fucking Stanley knife or a broken bottle or something.
Oh man,
could be a bloke.
Well, it could be anything, couldn't it?
Wow.
What are they going to do?
That's not acceptable, but not for us. But I mean, I think if you knew it was on the other side, you'd be alright, wouldn't you?
Well, if you're on the other side,
Yeah, well, that
suppose.
defeats the object there, then. You don't. You're just not supposed to know what's
you
on the
don't
other side,
someone
do you?
biting your dick.
Thankfully,
off.
I don't know how they work.
Charlie wouldn't get his thick penis through a glory hole, would he?
You wouldn't want to like accidentally be on the other side of a glory hole, would you? You just like casually having a piss in the toilet somewhere, all of a sudden just wanted it to come through.
You start fucking sucking it.
Some of the videos though, man,
I wouldn't.
fucking wet.
And punch it.
It's fucking
With your ass.
There are fucking
I bite it off slowly.
the German glory hole videos are the funniest because it's always like fucking comedic voices, like this big dick hunter is like, hello.
Not for me, a glory hole.
But not for me.
What about you, Al? What do you think about glory holes?
It's not something that is appealing. Like, do you know what I mean? I am Alan.
I see.
Easy for him to say.
Yes, so she talks about how the mum was locked in the glory hole and she felt the presence of a man there with his breath smelling like rotten cabbage breathing in her face.
No.
And then she was able to get out.
Oh yeah, there was something pressing on the other side.
Yeah.
That's quite.
So then they played a tape set of the ghost talking through the girl.
Yeah, what the fuck was it saying? I couldn't make out a
I think
word.
it was like round and round the garden.
It was doing that, yeah.
Is that what it was? I missed that.
Because I couldn't understand what he was saying. It was only later I was like, oh, that's been like a running theme throughout it. So.
Yeah, the
Good
doctor
demonic voice.
says-
It is, yeah.
And then she asks him if he's in heaven, and then he says something else, but I can't tell what that is either.
Are you in heaven?
Yeah, it was hard to make out, but I think a good scary voice.
Yeah,
I mean,
he pulled it off well.
if some fucking girl started talking that to you, you'd be like, oh fuck, man.
Yeah.
I just go,
She had scratches on her face as well, didn't she?
Yes.
That was the other thing.
And they were quite good. The ones on her neck as well, because obviously they say they got the Holy Trinity, so most like sort of demonic scratches come in like threes, and she had like 2 sets of 3 very visible claw marks alone, like just on the back of her neck. But she was pretty fucked up on the front, wasn't she?
There's a new film out now, isn't there, about late 1970s TV show, and they do an
Yeah.
exorcism on the TV. I think it's quite inspired by Ghostwatch.
It's that guy from fucking
Ant-Man, yeah.
So then we cut to this fucking skeptic in New York, and he is so New York, that guy.
He's smart, man.
He sounds exactly like Jeff Goldblum.
Same as I'd love to believe I'm going to heaven, but doesn't make it a scientific fact.
Yes, he does, man. I thought that when I watched it.
But he's like so in New York, that guy.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
like New York behind him. He's in a New York suit. He's
A tiny fucking beige background with a little cutout of New York skyline, like tiny little window. He's like fucking sat next door.
I was thinking about this. There was no real need for him to have been in New York, but
no.
I know it's because they sold it at the beginning, isn't it, as a link up between the UK and America. Yeah, it was very much just appeasing that.
I think I do remember at the time having a feeling of this did make it feel grander.
Yeah, like
because
it's bigger scale. It's more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, 'cause Americans are cool, wasn't it?
It was like Sky was just coming over here then, you know, in 1989, 90, but getting big. And you had like American wrestling and all that stuff. Anybody American was fucking cool.
Yeah, so it made it feel like it was a big thing. Like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, the Americans are watching this as well. And fucking,
Made you unified with that sort of country that you fucking love from being a kid, like
Well,
from the
man,
action films and shit.
you know, anybody our age probably absolutely idolised America from like the 80s to probably the late 90s. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Really, if you think about it.
When you wake up to the world, and then you realise, yeah, but when you're a kid, it was like, I was going to move there.
See,
sure.
that sounds cool. America looks cool.
America's cool as fuck.
Yeah.
Back then, yeah.
So then the little kid goes to bed, and the cameraman's like talking about how his water stopped and stuff. And then we cut to this interview with a guy with a blurry face who's talking about a ghost story because he didn't want to be identified. And he's like, we were having mackerel for dinner, and there was saliva on it. So it's like, and there was saliva on my shoe. It's like quite a specific. How the fuck did you know it looked like saliva, not just like a clear liquid?
That was a real guy.
Was it?
And a real ghost story. All those interviews are actual real people.
It does say at the end, because I wondered about that, because it did say we'd like to thank all of those people who got in touch to share their fucking paranormal experiences.
Yeah, no, they're real
and I was
people.
like, well, who's done that? It's all fucking...
He's like, at the end, he went upstairs and then the ghost had shit all over the
Yeah.
door.
It's like, mate, this isn't a ghost. Somebody fucking hates you. It's like he's his housemate or something. Because I'm going to spit on his fucking
Put
mackerel.
his saliva on his mackerel.
Put
Put shit on his door.
It was a real funny poltergeist.
Do you want someone to spit on your fish?
And smear shit on the wall.
Great name for a fucking emo band, Spit on the Fish.
A spit fisher.
Is that what you do if a fish came through a glory hole?
Spit on it.
I'm sure he said that the lot of spit appeared on his foot. So it's not like it was somebody, hating on him, was it? If he saw that physically appear. Imagine if it was somebody like...
Well, this is it. I mean, Occam's razor dictates that it probably was somebody spitting on him. Do you know what I mean? So some guy was probably watching TV.
That was me.
I've got this ghost following me around. Everybody shit on the wall. He's like, that's fucking me. I did that.
I had no clue that guy was real. Fucking hell, I wondered why you would not want to be identified on a made-up show.
Well, he recorded that and he's like, yeah, bang my face out. I don't like going out.
So they come back to the studio and then have a phone call from the most Welsh person of all time then. It was Kevin Tripp.
You ain't gonna believe this, I'm telling you.
Oh, the haunted cheese and pickle plate.
Yeah.
Parky's having none of that.
No,
he was like, all right, you've had your fun.
See, this is another thing with Parkinson, right? I never really used to watch his show, but is he an antagonist? Because he seemed to not believe he's hosting this show to get proof, but anybody ringing in and he's like, fucking blah blah blah, my dog won't stop barking and my son won't stop breaking glasses. He's like, right, well, we expected this to happen. He's like poo-pooing everything. Yeah, he doesn't seem to have an open mind at all. He's
trying to be the straight man, isn't he, really? He's like, the one to sort of try and keep bringing the doubt back into the viewer, do you know what I mean? Because all the other ones who are quite pro it. So I don't think he does a good job. I think he's balanced.
I wanted to hear what happened to his plate.
Yeah, you can't spoon feed everyone everything, can you? Because they do it all the way through, because the next bit, there's a load of banging and stuff, and then they get the cameras to look, and it's the girl banging, and so then you're back then to the start, then you're like, oh, fucking hell, it was all fake all along, so it's pulled you back out, do you know what I mean? So it does it all the way through.
Yeah. It's a bit weird. It reminded me of when they're looking for Truman on the Truman Show, that when they're like sort of like zoom out, oh no, they're landing upstairs, zoom back to the left.
She's got a good eye.
Yeah, considering the camera can't see her, so they go looking for her, but she knows exactly where she is. There was a little bit when Parky and the doctor are getting into talking and that, and he's like, so why this house? Why pick this house? And she was like, we run a computer program of haunted houses in the UK. That's it. And it was like, oh.
No, we knew what computers were then.
Yeah.
Oh, fair enough.
Sounds like something a computer could do.
It's like the thing.
We ran the computer program.
How long until the thing takes over the Earth? It's like 3 years, like shit.
They thought computers back then were like what AI could do now. Like
Yeah,
realistically now you could probably do that, chuck a load of like ghost reports and find out the most haunted things with an AI. But yeah, not back in fucking 92.
Yeah, she was very careful just to stay away from anything. She ran a computer program.
It would have been
well done.
a real fucking
Apple
subpar,
Macintosh.
like
Or
BBC, yeah.
So yeah, and then the equipment in the studio starts malfunctioning for here. It's like the videos are like stopping and stuff, and they're like, oh, we got a technical issue here, which is like the first part of them insinuating that it's like fucking taking over the studio or whatever. And then you get more calls describing this haunted figure, and they're saying it's got like a skull for a head and is wearing a black dress, so you get a bit more description there, and they work out that the girl in the past has said that's what she thought the ghost was. It was a bloke wearing a dress with like a skull face. So then, Parky and the doctor and Emma's like, oh, this is a fake.
Well, the doctor's like, nah, it's not.
Let's wait and see.
Yeah.
But she's disappointed because she'd spent all this time, hadn't she? And then they start hearing noises of cats then, and a bit more banging. So I think Sarah goes to the bathroom and she thinks she sees a figure in there, but we don't see it then, do we? So they get a call then talking about Mother Settons, this baby farmer. And then it's just after that the camera pans across, and then you see the ghost. The camera goes back, and it's not there. It's done that. That's fucking good. That's scary. That's real scary.
When Sarah Green first sees it, you don't see it, do you? She says there's something behind the kitchen door, but you hear it go.
The one thing that does really give it away in hindsight, or the version I watched anyway, was the sound mixing on this. The things like the noises, like the cats and like the breaths.
Yeah.
Are so high in the mix. It's like it wouldn't sound like that. It would be in the background, and obviously they wanted everyone to hear it. They could have improved it a bit by just having it a bit more subtle.
So this banging then, and I think like a picture frame comes off the wall. The girl's got scratches all over her face that have manifested. She's like sat in the corner talking in that scary voice then. Which is good.
That was pretty well timed, yeah, it was good.
Yeah. And then all the cat noises are like reaching a crescendo and they're coming from the glory hole. The other girls run off and hid then, the little girl. And they go to the glory hole and it's like getting louder and louder. And
lots of pussy in the glory hole.
They open the door and it stops, don't they?
Well, that'd be jackpot, wouldn't it?
Whoa! Yeah, they open the door and it stops. And then
Sarah Green.
She screams or something, doesn't she? And then the cameraman falls over and he's got
the
blood
sound
over
guy.
the back of his
It's
head.
the sound guy, innit? He looks like Adrian Edmondson.
Oh god, when he got introduced and she was like, best Aid Edmondson look like, and then he does his impression.
Right on.
Do you think you're the best Aid Edmondson lookalike?
I'll be better soon, I'm going to get glasses.
Yeah.
I'm going to need to.
You're like fucking Harry Hill.
Harry Hill.
Pretty Stanley took it. Moby.
He'd be Professor Specs.
Oh, this is going to be a whole new world when you get glasses, man.
I embrace boldness. I would embrace these just as much.
Yeah, there's one thing being called a bald but a bald four-eyed is something else.
Get like a little pair of Nazi ones, little round ones, like in like Air Flick from like Elton John sort of.
Like those ones you used to get in the 80s.
Which ones?
The giant ones. The tiny handles.
Like fucking Joe 90.
Anyway, so Salman falls over and the camera spins around and then you see the ghost again then.
Do you? I didn't see this.
Yeah. You see half of it coming around the door.
Do you?
Yeah.
Fuck.
They cut back to the studio here.
Everybody's getting a bit fucked now.
Yeah, that's it. All equipment's getting knackered. Craig Charles is pissing around outside. He can't hear the studio talking to him, so he's doing like interviews. He doesn't realise they've stopped filming, and he's.
It's a good bit of acting here. I thought he was being pretty like
yeah.
fucking hell. Only on the BBC.
At the time, that was unbelievable. The funny thing is he keeps getting terrorised by kids, and in part of his introduction, he talks about how he hates Halloween because he hates little kids dressed as a devil. And the first kid that you bump into is a little kid dressed as the devil. And he's like, hey, trick-or-treaters! And it's like, oh. During that bit I think you're on about, there's another kid dressed as a goblin or something, and because he doesn't think he's being filmed, like the kid goes to walk past him, he's like, hey, and he goes to push the kid, and that's when it cuts back. That was a nice little touch as well. He didn't realise he was on film, so he was being a bastard to kids. Like.
So he goes back to the studio then, and everything's sort of malfunctioning now. And they've got
You're losing me here from that. I don't care how old I am. I wouldn't believe that studio was getting affected by what was going on.
Well,
you'd have turned this off and gone to bed.
This is quite low key at the moment, but it's still believable here compared to the end. So they're showing a video of the kids in the background. They're like, "Oh, it's fine." Like they're playing fucking
families. Yeah, she says, "Oh, it seems nice and calm in there at the moment."
Yeah, and then they get a call from a guy who breaks down the story of.
He says, "Do you know the history of the house?" We actually know all about the house. We've got the deeds and the ley lines, and oh right. That doctor is asking some boring questions of everybody, and then when somebody comes on and says, "Like you're right," do you know what I mean? Everything else she's wanted to know. When somebody says, "I know about the house," she'd be like, "Yeah, we already know about it. Thanks."
It's like some guy who was done for molestation. That's horrible, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
But this is where it gives away what the ghost is dressed as.
Yes.
Yeah, well, all the calls before this have really helped build up that there's like supernatural shit happening in people's homes. So there's that woman who's got like the kids and the blood on the walls. From
Yeah. They won't stop watching TV.
Yeah, she was like, "Why are you doing this?"
So they build up this whole sort of like thing that is starting to happen in people's houses as well. The last call, he says about
he lived with his aunt and uncle.
Yeah,
he was a fucking child molester or something.
Yeah, he went mad.
Some
woman, some voice in his head, the ghost of this
Mother Settons.
Yes.
And then his aunt and uncle went away for 2 weeks and he killed himself in the glory hole and he had 12 cats and they all ate his face.
Oh yeah, he was in there for 12 days before they knew, yeah, and they had cats everywhere, yeah. Well, where'd he go?
So that's quite cool. It's like, it'd be cool to see Pipes. I bet he looks fucking terrible, man. He looks horrible.
Yeah.
And he's quite a cool monster, Pipes.
Yeah.
It's quite cool.
Well, I've actually got a picture of what he looks like without like the ghost, like without the transparency. The actor, he's got like his like eyes missing and
cool.
I would like to see that.
You will when you watch this.
No, there it is.
He's just a bald guy with missing eyes and a dress on. You could go as him for Halloween, I reckon, with no problem.
Just put a dress on.
And some ghost, eh?
And some ghost centres. Then they realised in the studio that the footage was from earlier because you can still see the picture on the wall that had fallen down.
They've been duped. The doctor was like, "It's in the machine."
It's in the machine. It's like, oh, that machine. Fuck's sake. And then some of this is good, some of this is shit because then like there starts to be a wind in the studio then, and that's like that's like the shittest thing about this.
I think this might be when my parents realised because I think I remember one of them fucking mouthing this bit off.
A light bulbs are blowing
being
up.
mouthed off during this bit?
Ooh.
And then like there's a camera rolling around in there, but then it cuts to outside, and there's like fucking police cars and ambulances, and Craig Charles is running. I'm like, fuck! It's like that's cool.
That same man's being brought out on a stretcher.
Yeah, all that stuff's really cool. And then it cuts to the thermal camera. And the cameraman is in there, and it's dark, and like fucking Sarah Green's in there. She's like, "You're right." And they're like, "Oh, you fucking get out of that, whatever." And he lights a light on because of the thermal imaging. It's like a fucking.
It's a fucking Zippo.
Good God! It's like a flare, pyro.
It's a fucking hell of it.
The Human Torch
Yeah,
was
that's
denied a
it.
bank club. So then she can hear like the girl calling from the glory hole, and then she opens the door, and the cameraman's like, "Don't go in there, Sarah! Don't go in there!" And then she like either jumps in or she gets pulled in, and it slams shut. And then it cuts back to the studio, and everyone's fucking like escaping the place. There's stuff blowing up everywhere. It's windy as fuck. There's like fucking
chaos.
There's like fucking teacups flying off the side. The doctor's fucked off, and this is like Parker's worst bit now, where he's like, "Oh, what's going on? There's people walking around." It's like he's like the fucking oldest, fucking most insane bloke ever. I don't know what's going on there.
The TV camera's fallen on its side, or is whatever.
It's lowered down.
You can only see half of him.
Yeah.
He's like, everybody's gone.
And then it goes quiet, and he's like, "Oh, the auto prompt's still on," and he's like, "Round and round the garden like a teddy bear," and then he starts talking in the ghost voice, and then it ends. I think they could have done this and done a lot better. I think they could have got the same message across, but not as fucking shit as that.
Yes.
It was too big. It should have been more subtle.
In the context of 2024, yes, you could definitely have done that better. But being 10 years old and watching that on Halloween shit me right up. And I think, yeah, the ending does go a bit over the top, but all the bits before,
They could all the bits before fine. If they just toned the end down just a little bit.
I think a good jump scare, like, you know, with an actual monster coming out and like just doing a screen looking, like, you know, towards the camera, anything sort of like that, that just became a farce. I was glad it was over.
Only for the last couple of minutes.
I think the bits which I found most disturbing and scary were the stuff when it started getting pretty intense in the house, when they're running around and they're like going through the things. I think one, because it's like a modern house, so that kind of makes it more relatable. But also the fact that there's no music. And it's all you can hear is, and it's like really fucking, it's really like unsettling.
Yeah, no, it's good that the atmosphere is from people, not from tension music.
Because I think one of the producers was like, yeah, we need to put a soundtrack on this, and like the whole crew were like, no, you cannot put like, a soundtrack on this, it will ruin it. And he like argued, but the whole crew were like, I think they were going to like fucking go on strike if he did or whatever. And those but I think the fact there is no music makes it really good. But yeah, you know, in 1992, that was fucking scary.
Well, kids weren't supposed to be watching anyway, were they?
Yeah, it is fucking back then.
The watershed.
Yeah.
The one bit I did see and pause was the appearance of this thing in front of the red curtains in the bedroom. That was the best image I saw. It looked kind of like a knight to me. It looked like the Black Knight out of fucking Holy Grail.
Then you shall die.
No, it looked like fucking the Inquisitor from Red Dwarf.
What's the ones from Hellraiser?
Oh, what, the Cenobites?
The Cenobites. It's something a bit Cenobite about it.
Yeah.
Also, there was a funny bit in the studio as well when Barky was poo-pooing it, and the doctor, he was having to go at the doctor, and he's like, look, she's been found out to be blah 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 blah. And Mike Smith is like, wait, we've got a phone call from somebody. And I was like, oh, here we go. It was like, she said she was very distressed about something we showed earlier, and she hung up. So we need you to call us back. He stopped the press for that.
Yeah, what did she fucking say? Yeah. She must have said
she was distressed. We need you to call us back. What were you distressed about?
I think Smithy was quite good in this.
He was,
I quite enjoyed him in it.
He did his role well.
Sarah Green, yeah, she was wooden at times, but other times I thought she was really good.
Yeah.
And there's something just really fucking lovely about her.
Do you remember, like, 88 or something? Because Mike Smith was a fucking helicopter pilot. Those two had a helicopter crash.
Oh, fuck yeah.
And she broke both of her legs and one of her arms.
Shit.
And he fucking broke his back or his neck and his ankle or something. So she was presenting, like, Blue Peter or whatever in a fucking, like, cast and stuff.
Fuck, man.
Do you remember it was big news at the time?
Yeah,
Can't remember.
Her first name's Elizabeth. Elizabeth Sarah Green.
I remember the guy from Hello Hello having a big tree go through his head when we had all those
Yes, the storms, like.
Yeah.
Good way to go, isn't it?
No, he survived.
He survived, yeah.
Wasn't he, like, different after?
We had a big fucking scar on his head.
Took you like a fucking champ.
No, but I mean, didn't he,
That'd
like...
be a good fancy dress for you, man, Renee from Hello Hello.
Fuck you. Didn't Mike Smith die anyway?
He died in 2016.
Oh.
What?
A very short illness with complications.
Oh, man. And obviously this was a big influence, apparently, on Blair Witch Project.
Was it?
The guys who made it watched this like a year or two before. Because if you think about it, this was 92 and that came out in, what, 99? 99, yeah. So was it like fucking 7 years after? But you think about it in your mind, the gap in between Ghostwatch and Blair Witch is like, man, that was fucking huge. It was like 7 years.
Yeah.
Is that official, that they took inspiration from it?
Yes, yeah. And I would guess, although I don't know, I don't have any basis on, the other one is Paranormal Activity. Which is fucking great.
Yeah, it's good,
was fucking sold on Paranormal Activity, and I think I was new to Facebook whenever it came out. I joined it, and I think it was like a year later. And
you watch it on fucking Facebook?
No. I think I put a post on Facebook. I was so excited by it that I said on my Facebook post, either this is a complete fake or this is absolute proof that ghosts exist. And I did that during the film. I didn't get to the end. You know, I didn't know anything about the franchise, so it's kind of like...
Well, it wasn't a franchise then, was it?
That's what I mean.
Well, it was the whole thing, wasn't it, that Steven Spielberg had seen it and said that's the scariest movie he'd ever seen and all that good stuff, and then he got it released big.
Greenlit.
I was fucking blown away.
Alan, any facts from you?
I think it's that they've got that sort of, the odds are against them as well, really. I think, like, as it's going along, you're learning that they went in there for one thing and they're getting screwed over by the people above them.
Yeah, I'm amazed that it got the reputation that it did when there was fucking credits at the end. The Ghost got a credit. Even the anonymous guy's name was on there.
Yeah, if you still
I
believe
didn't
it
read the credits, to be
No,
fair.
I didn't. Man, I was fucking dead. No.
But I said he's still not reading them now, so do you know what I mean?
Well, I do. But yeah, the Ghost was Keith Ferrari and the anonymous man was Mark Drury.
Fucking Keith Ferrari. He sounds like a fucking superhero. He sounds like a fucking cop.
Sounds like a car
salesman. Cosplay name.
Imagine you a car salesman called Keith Ferrari. You would only be able to sell Ferraris, otherwise people would be disappointed.
So I guess shall we go on to scores?
Yeah.
Lee, do you want to go first then? Because you.
Okay. Well, as a Halloween film, it's weird, isn't it? This film, because like when you were little, it was real. Not like a film is scary, but this was something that you thought was actually real. Do you know what I mean? Rather than something that scared you. And I thought it for a while, and like, you know, I wasn't like a year after that I started doing my paper round in fucking pitch black in the morning, and I used to be fucking shit scared that just not by this, but by, do you know what I mean?
The possibility of the paranormal.
The possibility of it, yeah. So I used to be
movement early in the morning, so whatever's moving is not normally
It
good.
was. I used to be cycling like fuck, and if it was a house with a dark place, I'd be like, fuck man, I gotta fucking get out of here. So like, it had a big effect on me, and there's no way that you could ever feel like that again. Not just because you know it's not real now, but because like the production of it is just of a time past. You couldn't be duped by it now, even if you hadn't seen it before. Do you know what I mean? But as a Halloween film, obviously there's not a great deal going on. But if you're watching this at a party, I don't know. I think you could have fun with it. I think like you could all get on board with watching it. Do you know what I mean? So I think like as a Halloween film, maybe I'm going to give it a 7. And as a film, you know, like I said, it's hard to not. You've also got to give it fucking 2 scores. Do you know what I mean? Because it's like it's something that you can only watch once and be changed by it forever.
In the 90s.
Yeah.
When it came out.
Do you know what I mean? Not in the same way, but like when you watch Fight Club, it's like that's good, but the second time you watch it, it's different. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But this is like that in reverse. So I think I enjoyed that. I felt like comforting watching like a 90s camera and seeing like 90s faces, and I did enjoy it. I thought it was well done, and I think I'm going to give it a 7.
Sorry.
I would have scrutinised this film, probably not so rationally, but I would have done the same thing. I missed the whole bit about it being a drama or like for entertainment or something like that. I've done that before, you know, with Paranormal Activity. I thought it was real for a bit. I missed the whole bit where it was fucking a fake. So I didn't watch this when I was a kid, but I know that I would have been harsh on it then, because I think that they gave away the fact that it was...
You would have fucking loved it. You would have fucking ghosts and stuff. You would have fucking loved this as a kid.
I don't think I would. I would have had the same questions then. Why didn't they do that? Or why didn't they? I just found the whole thing a little bit too, in your face. I don't know. And I think for the Enfield haunting, I mean, you know, they could have thrown in a levitation or something like that, and they didn't. I didn't think it really delivered many scary moments for me. It was a lot of innuendo, but again, that might have put the score up if I watched it in '92, but I didn't. But as a Halloween film, I think the movement and the action and the whatever, again, I'm going to use the analogy of if you couldn't hear it, if you were all sat around talking, it was on. It's got all the feels of a pretty good Halloween film. So as a Halloween film, I think I would give it a 7.5. I think it's quite themed. You can tell something weird's going on even if you can't hear it. So yeah, I think that's a fair score. As a film, I'm going to be even fairer. I didn't watch it until last night for the first time. I didn't enjoy it, but it isn't the worst thing I've seen, so I'm going to be fair and go down the middle. It's a 5.
Oh, this film was massively affected, I think, by when you saw it, and like you said, if you saw it when it came out, do you know what I mean, in 1992, in the context and the quality of the stuff that we had on TV at the time, you know, it was fucking crazy, and it did have an almost like...
I had to watch it like that and try and be like, fuck, you know, would I be in the same stuff? I think, and that's why I said I think I would, but it was quite pioneering, I imagine.
And that's the thing, because it was like 90s, like that period, and when something was on, if you didn't see it, then all you had to do was talk about it, so you had like a legendary kind of status, and it was like, oh, they never showed it again. It wasn't like you had access to go and I'll look at some pictures or I'll go and watch some clips from...
It wasn't even the internet to say that it's not real.
Yeah, so you had these things that became sort of like folklore.
And Chinese whispers and...
Yeah, you know, as a kid, I remember like hearing about Freddy Krueger before we ever watched a Freddy Krueger film, and then you'd see like a glimpse of him in a video shop, and you'd be like, "Fuck, there's fucking Freddy Krueger."
But that drove the market, I suppose.
Yeah, of course,
like feeding stuff to people to be the next generation of video hirers.
Well, they didn't have YouTube or TikTok things to market straight to people like that, so everything was like
posters and people who'd seen it,
and like
trailer,
like word of mouth, wasn't it? And sort of like
Or trailers you'd only get from hiring another video.
Yeah. So I think if you're with a group of people who maybe had that connection, it'd be good to watch in Halloween. But there's not really many like scary bits in it, and most of it's like Michael Parkinson talking in the studio with that. But if you know it, then it'd be good. If not, you could probably pick something that'd be better. It's like a slasher or something, I don't know, which might be more fun to watch. So as a Halloween film, I'll probably give it a 7, and that's mainly for nostalgia. But as an actual thing, so you can almost give it like 2 scores.
It's tough, isn't it?
If I was 10 and you'd asked me after I watched this, I would say that's a fucking 10. That's a solid 10. I would have been. That's one of the fucking craziest things I've ever seen.
You'd probably be able to have some fun showing your kids it.
No, well, Bill's like,
what the fuck is this?
Is this so shit? Yeah.
Well, I think how dated all that would look to him. That would be like fucking showing you a picture of fucking, I don't know, for some of the Wright brothers. And you're like, fucking hell, look at that.
So it would be like, literally from the 50s or something, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, you would look at that amazing achievement by the Wright brothers and their plane, you'd be like, well, basic.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't fight that, can you? That's just fucking nature, I suppose. That's fucking mad.
But I do think it is good, and I do think some bits of it are quite disturbing, actually, quite scary. And I think the bits where there's no sound are fucking really good. And it's like, it's even more creepy when you can just hear them running around outside. So I think I did think that was really good. And yeah, there is a couple of wooden bits, a couple of bits that don't land very well. I think I should probably score this lower than I'm going to, but I am going to give it an 8.
Fucking hell.
I'm going to give it an 8. Yeah, and I'd say at least one point of that is just culturally what impact it had to British kids in the fucking early 90s.
I don't understand. Yeah, I don't understand because I remember hearing about it at school, but it was kind of over before it began. You know, I heard it was massive like the next day, and then I don't. Weird.
So, Al, what about you?
It's slower than light. It's not something that is appealing, like, do you know what I mean? And I would most definitely watch it again. I'm going to give it a 7.
Fair.
Yeah.
Fair. 7. Cool, right, so Ghostwatch. Yeah, I think, you know, if you're a fan of that sort of like era, which obviously you must be to have listened to this, then yeah, you should definitely watch it. I'm sure you will enjoy it, and it's worth watching at least once. Ideally, in 1992.
Yeah, you got to suspend your disbelief of the time that it is now.
yeah, and watch it. Yeah. So yeah, go and check it out.
So check it out, Mikey.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
Whoa.
Bye.
I am Alan.